Imagine being so rich that you travel to another country, spend so much gold that you actually make gold less valuable, and nearly 700 years later, people are still calling you the richest human who ever lived. His name? Mansa Musa. But here's the crazy part. Was this medieval African king actually richer than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates? And the answer is far more complicated than you think. Mansa Musa, also known as Musa I of Mali, was the ruler of the Mali Empire in West Africa. He came to power around 1312 and ruled during the period when the Mali Empire reached the height of its power and influence. And this wasn't some small kingdom. At its peak, Mali controlled enormous parts of West Africa, including territory corresponding to parts of modern-day Mali, Senegal, Mauritania, Guinea, the Gambia, and surrounding regions. Its location was incredibly important. Why? Because Mali sat right in the middle of major trans-Saharan trade routes, and two commodities dominated this economy: gold and salt. While salt was extremely valuable in the Sahara, gold was the real game changer, and Mali had access to some of the richest gold-producing regions in West Africa. That made Mansa Musa incredibly powerful. But he didn't just inherit wealth, he expanded it. Here's where the story gets interesting. Mansa Musa didn't become wealthy because he had a giant bank account like a modern billionaire. His wealth came from controlling an entire economic system. Mali benefited from gold production in regions such as Bambouk and Bure, while also controlling or taxing important trade routes. Gold moved north across the Sahara. Salt moved south. Merchants crossed enormous distances carrying valuable goods, and the Mali Empire could collect taxes and tribute from this trade. Mali also participated in the trade of other goods, including things such as ivory and kola nuts. So think about the difference between Mansa Musa and Elon Musk. Elon owns valuable stakes in companies. Mansa Musa ruled a state whose power was deeply connected to land, resources, trade routes, and taxation. In 1324, Mansa Musa left Mali to perform the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. And he didn't travel alone. Accounts describe an enormous caravan containing thousands of people and huge quantities of gold. Some contemporary accounts describe dozens of camels carrying hundreds of pounds of gold each. Imagine seeing that caravan approaching. People weren't just seeing a king. They were seeing the wealth of an entire West African empire moving across the desert. And then, Mansa Musa reached Cairo. This is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. He gave away and spent enormous amounts of gold. He gave gifts, he bought goods, he distributed gold to people along his route. And suddenly, there was a lot more gold circulating in Cairo. According to historical accounts, this contributed to a major fall in the value of gold in Egypt. One account says the effects lasted for around 12 years. Now comes the difficult part. How much money did Mansa Musa actually have? You may have heard the number, $400 billion. It's everywhere online. But here's the problem. We don't actually know. Historians cannot calculate Mansa Musa's wealth in the same way Forbes calculates Elon Musk's wealth. Why? Because Mansa Musa lived in the 1300s. There was no modern stock market, no audited personal balance sheet, no record saying Mansa Musa, net worth $400 billion. And perhaps most importantly, his wealth was intertwined with the wealth of the Mali Empire. So when someone says Mansa Musa was worth $400 billion, that's an attempted modern comparison, not a proven historical figure. Some historians therefore avoid putting any number on him at all. And honestly, that's probably the safer answer. Now, let's bring in today's billionaires. As of late July 2026, Forbes' real-time list put Bill Gates at around $106.6 billion, while Jeff Bezos was around $242.6 billion and Elon Musk around $715.6 billion. These numbers change constantly because modern billionaire wealth is largely tied to asset and stock prices. So, if you take the popular $400 billion estimate for Mansa Musa, Musk would actually be richer by today's nominal dollar comparison. Mansa Musa, approximately $400 billion estimated. Elon Musk, approximately $716 billion, modern estimate. Jeff Bezos, approximately $243 billion. Bill Gates, approximately $106 billion. But here's the problem. That comparison isn't really fair.
If you're asking for a simple answer, we can't prove it. But if you're asking who had the more extraordinary concentration of wealth and economic power relative to their world, Mansa Musa has an incredible case. He controlled an empire sitting on major gold resources and trade networks. His pilgrimage became legendary. His spending affected the value of gold in Egypt. And his reputation became so enormous that centuries later, he is still widely described as the richest person in history. So maybe the real lesson isn't that Mansa Musa was richer than Elon. It's that wealth doesn't always look like a number on a billionaire ranking. Elon Musk can be measured in billions of dollars. Mansa Musa was the ruler of an empire built around some of the most valuable resources of the medieval world. And perhaps that's why, almost 700 years later, we're still asking the same question. Was Mansa Musa the richest man who ever lived?
Subscribe and like for more videos like this.